Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shay goes by.
Wake your punk ass up. That crust out, y'all.
Mr. Samuel Jackson, you was a bad mother. The BT Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Samuel Leroy Jackson.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, and he's here with us right now.
Finally.
He's finally here.
Finally in the house. I've been trying to get here. I always wished in the morning. Every morning I always go, I ought to call. I'm not going to call.
Oh, man, you should. Samuel L. Jackson is officially a citizen.
A Sway in the
Give him
morning.
a round.
Thank you very much.
Man.
I've been waiting to be that.
Hey, man, listen, we've been waiting to have you, man. I've been a gigantic fan of yours for so long. I've tried to emulate how you navigate through your business in a sense because you never turned away from a job. It feels like.
Actually, I have. People,
You have?
Yeah, people like to say that, but yeah, there have been a few jobs I turned down.
Why? What made you turn them down? Like, what would have?
Didn't like the project.
Uh-huh.
Didn't have time sometimes, or didn't want to be where they were going to do it.
Yeah.
That's real.
I don't want to go to Antarctica to shoot this
Right.
film.
There is that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it makes a difference. You know, I have this coworker here named DB, who's a fanatic, stalker almost, fan of yours.
Really?
Yeah, and he was just running down all this information this morning. He was so excited, and I said, "Man, look,
You
you
got
got
facts about me I don't know?
I have a wallet that says bad motherfucker on it.
Okay.
All right, well, go
have
ahead,
one
run
of
down the
those.
facts.
He's Oscar nominated.
What's in your wallet?
That's the day for the one.
I got that one. Actually, not a damn thing, as you can see. He was nominated for an Oscar for Pulp Fiction, Best Supporting Actor. He was the only recipient of the Cannes Supporting Actor Award, which has never been given since. The only recipient.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
True that.
Can go.
He was eaten by a shark in Deep Blue Sea, and he was eaten by a dinosaur in Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. Damn, Sam.
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, it was a little vague.
That's a vague.
It's a vague
Okay.
one.
I keep thinking one of
Okay.
these Jurassic Parks, they're going to show up, and my ass is going to be come through there one-armed on a velociraptor.
Like you've been living in the jungle the whole time. And
Yeah,
then you find
chilling.
out. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. You've starred in not one but two movies with Snake in the title: Black Snake Moan and Snakes on a Plane.
Wow, that's pretty good. Okay. That's anything else?
Up until recently, he was the highest-grossing actor of all time, and he was dethroned by Harrison Ford, who they both starred in Star Wars.
I'm back in that ass this weekend.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'm on that ass this weekend.
Sensitive subject.
Harrison's in big trouble.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guitars are going to make some money.
Right.
Yeah, man. We actually had Alexander come by the show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Alexander Tarzan himself was here,
Oh.
and we were trying to get him to do the Tarzan yell.
He doesn't do that in the movie.
Yeah, he explained that. It kind of crushed me.
Yeah.
Like he told us that you guys had a vocal.
Not you guys.
Oh, okay.
They guys.
So it's a difference. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I actually did it.
Okay.
You know, and they yell, cut. Sam, no.
You actually look. Why
Let's
they?
hear it.
Why? Why they cut you? Let's hear it.
Well, because they were like, well, we don't know if we're going to do that. And you know, I mean, it's 18-something. So unless I was with him somewhere and I heard him do it, how would I know that that's what it was?
Oh, that's right. Good
But
point.
I was all hyped.
Can
Because
we
I'm
hear
in a Tarzan movie. I was like, I've been doing this all my life.
Yeah.
Listen,
Right.
I got to rock it once. They were
And
like,
no?
No, Sam, no.
Rock it twice.
Yo, Sam, why don't you do that for Sway in the morning, man? We would accept
Hit
your-
my Tarzan?
Yeah, let me hear that shit, man.
Oh!
That was dope. Let me ask you a question. I want to talk about the movie, but I didn't realize how Spike Lee and you have worked together for so long, and that relationship obviously is golden. Even hearing him introduce you when you got the Lifetime Achievement Award. By the way, I thought the BET Awards was so excellent. I thought it was done well. What is your relationship like? Can you tell us the relationship with Spike?
Me and Spike?
Yeah.
Well, when I first met Spike, he came by NEC. I was doing a Soldiers play.
Yeah.
And he was at NYU Film School. I didn't remember him from Morehouse because when I got kicked out of Morehouse and I went back, I only went to Morehouse to pay my fees, and I took all my classes at Spelman. So I didn't set foot on Morehouse's campus when I went back, other than to just pay them their money.
Why did they kick you out?
They said I locked the trustees in a building for a couple days with some other people.
That's fine.
Martin Luther King's dad and some other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they accuse you of.
No, I was guilty.
Okay.
It happened. It was, water under the bridge.
Okay.
But I was still a little salty about it when I went back, when they finally let me go back. And I just paid my fees and I took my classes at Spelman. But I met him here, and he told me he's going to be a filmmaker, yada, yada, yada. And he went on and made She's Gotta Have It. Mm-hmm. I wasn't in it. So I'm like, okay, that's another brother who said he was going to do something and didn't do. But then he, did School Days. I worked in School Days, and I did, the rest of those films up till Jungle Fever. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do Malcolm X and some of the others. But, Spike and I have this great relationship. He actually directs all the Capital One commercials, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That was the What's in Your Wallet joke.
Yeah, so that's why he loves me, really.
Because that Capital One money. Yeah. That's a good, you look happy when you do those commercials. Oh, man.
So
you look
much joy.
GQ like, hey, what's in your wallet?
That's my real job.
That's your real job.
Right. But, Spike and I love each other. He loves Morehouse way more than I do.
Okay.
But our relationship is great because working with Spike was one of those kind of things where, people always say directors make actors, but Spike was very fortunate in that he had a lot of actors that knew each other very well and worked together in the theater here in New York. Like me, Bill Nunn, and I went to Morehouse together. We were roommates for a while. John Carlo, I'd known forever. Fish, Leonard Thomas, all these people who were in all these Spike Lee movies. Denzel, we did, plays together.
Yeah.
So all he had to do was give us a script. We could look at it and we could fix it or make it better. And we did. So it was a symbiotic relationship. He didn't make us famous. We made him as famous as he supposedly made us.
Yeah.
So we were all going in the same direction. We just weren't all going to get there at the same time.
Yeah.
So he had a really great, group of actors. And, Spike was that guy that would call you at the beginning of the summer and go, Sam, Spike. And say, what's up? Jungle Fever. June. Click.
Today go.
Yeah. So every summer was like going to Spike Lee film camp. So everybody would show up. It'd be the same crew, the same cast, and we just get together for like 8 weeks and ball out and make a movie and go away again. So it was all great.
It was all great.
But Jungle Fever is what got me into Hollywood. So I'm really, grateful to him for that.
Yeah.
And Spike and I fell out for a minute. Because when I was working with Quentin and he and Quentin were having that beef, that whole thing, and I got in the middle of it, and so we fell out for a minute. And then Spike's wife and my wife are really close friends. And all of a sudden one night we're thrown together at dinner, and when we were sitting there looking at each other like, and they're like, "Come on, grow up." So we grew up, and here we are.
Love wives, yo.
Your wife, man, must be an amazing person, man. You took time to even thank her and your daughter during that acceptance speech for finding you on the floor at a bachelor party, and next day.
No. I was in the floor of my kitchen. I had been to a bachelor party where we were doing tequila. I don't know why it was a bachelor party in the middle of the afternoon. Too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Best
Wild.
kind.
Yeah, so bachelor party in the middle of the afternoon. So I've been drinking tequila all afternoon, and on the way home in the cab, I'm like drunk out of my mind. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get a level.
Yeah.
So I went by the Coke Man spot uptown.
Okay.
Bought some Coke, went home, cooked it, and was getting ready to get lit, and apparently passed out. So when I woke up, my wife and daughter were standing there in the kitchen. I'm passed out on the floor. The rocks cooked on the table. I ain't even had a hit, or I wouldn't have been passed out.
Yeah.
And there they were. And my best friend from high school and college was a drug counselor in Knoxville. So my wife called him, and they found a bed for me upstate New York the very next morning, and I was in rehab the very next day.
The next day. Wow, you were cooking the Coke. Where'd you learn to cook the Coke? Like, you ever sell the Coke? Like,
What? What?
No, you only did.
I was a user, not a dealer, and I wasn't trying to sell nothing. I was trying to, I was smoking it up.
Yeah.
I was in a bad space.
Yeah. You're in a beautiful space now.
Yeah.
We got a rap coach. I don't know how you feel. You obviously a rap fan, I'm assuming, but in this rap culture today, narcotics is a big topic in the music. It's perpetuated heavily, man. I mean, I'm not asking you to give advice, but from your experience, when you're in this entertainment field, these these drugs are a gateway to a lot of failure and disaster. Would you agree? And what would you say to these artists that are kind of perpetuating that?
I have a hard time doing that.
I know. That's why. But I love to hear it from you, though.
Well, see, it's probably going to disappoint you in an interesting sort of way.
Okay.
Because when people ask me to speak to people about my drug experience or about, what all that was, it's hard for me because I had a great time.
That's real.
I was balling out until they found me passed out, or at least I thought I was. I mean, the dark moments for me was thinking about my career and thinking about why I wasn't oh poor me, oh poor me, oh poor me. Then I get high and I forgot about oh poor me.
Yeah.
But for me, see, I have a direct correlation between getting sober and success.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was in rehab, Spike Lee called, Sam, Jungle Fever, July, you gonna be you're a crack addict. I'm saying, oh, great. done the research. Here I am. Okay, so let's go. So as soon as that happened, when Jungle Fever happened, I started going to lunch in Hollywood. Or I won that award in Cannes. They created that award in Cannes for me. So my success directly correlates to me getting straight and getting in touch with who I am and understanding what my talents were and how to tap into them in a positive way and not that negative way that I used to. Mm-hmm. So when I think about, or when I had drug urges during those first few years, when I say to myself, I've been clean almost a year. I could probably smoke a joint, But then I had to realize I never smoked one joint in my whole fucking life, Or I never had one beer in my whole life. If I bought a 6-pack, I drank 6 beers. Yeah. If I bought a nickel bag of weed, I smoked a nickel bag of weed. I didn't save nothing for tomorrow because I didn't think tomorrow was going to come. It didn't matter. So you have to understand where you are and how your addictive personality tells you things. Like you're well. I'll never be well. There's like, I got stuff in my house like Cristal and things I never even tasted. I don't even know what Cristal tastes like. But people give it to me still, and they know I don't drink. Or they don't know I don't drink, but they give it to me. My wife and her friends drink it. But I know that I can't do certain things because my personality doesn't allow me. Yeah. It's like me going to work, and people go, why you work all the time? I say, I'm a work addict. Plus, I got one of the best jobs in the world. Why wouldn't I go to it?
Yeah, man.
So understanding who you are and doing what's best for you and what the expectations of the people around you are. See, I never grew out. I was never in a space where I wasn't accountable to somebody.
Okay.
When I grew up in my house, I was accountable. My grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt, my mom, I was accountable to those people. So they had expectations, which they relayed to people who were in charge of me, like at school. I went to school. I was in segregated Tennessee, so when I went to school, the teachers I had taught my mom, her brothers and sisters. So they knew what kind of house I came from and who those working class people were and what they expected of me getting out of that. So when those kids over there were cutting up and doing something, they put me over in the corner over here and said, read that book and we'll get back to you. While they were learning to diagram sentences, I was reading Shakespeare and doing something because they knew they expected me to go to college. They expected me to get out of Chattanooga, Tennessee and be something bigger than what they were. I wasn't going to work in a factory all my life. I was going to do something else. So I was accountable to those people. I had to come home with a certain grade, or I didn't get no money, or I didn't get to go places. People had expectations, or if I was cross town doing something and somebody saw me doing it, they could call my house and say, we saw Sam doing so-and-so and so. And sometimes it wasn't always me. It just, 'cause old ladies mistake you for some other person. Yeah. But they'll call the house and go, da-da-da-da. I saw Sam doing this. And when I got home, I had to be held accountable for that. Yeah. I heard you was over there by Miss So-and-so's house, or y'all was raising hell. And I say, no. So that grown-ass lady lying on you, which is a whole nother set of circumstances. You can't even say, all you can say is, so those kind of things pay off in your life in another kind of way, because when you marry somebody and you have a child, then you're accountable to those people. You have to do certain things or be a certain way so that their lives work a certain way so that everything gets better. Because everybody has a kid and they want their kid's life to be better than theirs.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if my daughter's life is ever going to be better than mine. But,
Yeah, you got a pretty good life, bro.
She does too.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay, good.
I'd like to be my daughter.
Yeah.
She got a good life.
How old is your daughter?
Zoe's 32.
32.
Yeah, she's a producer. She's a producer of Chopped and Top Chef Masters.
Okay.
Yeah,
she got a good life.
Yeah, chilling.
Yeah, she all right.
She all right.
She all right. Yeah, she all right. But accountability to people in your lives. You know, it's like the people you work for. You know, when you don't learn how to take an order from somebody or understand that there are people who are up here and people who are up here and people who are up here. The whole thing about being disrespected, I mean, I didn't even know I was supposed to have respect until I got my own job or my own house. You know? Everything else, I was responsible for somebody else. You know, as long as somebody else was buying my clothes, I had to respect them. They didn't have to respect me. You know, I had to go by what they say. So when I'm on a movie set, I understand who the director is. I understand who the producer is. I don't have to kiss their asses. But when they give me a suggestion or when we talk about something, I have to understand that it's their money that they're putting out there and they have an expectation that I'm supposed to meet. They hired me for a reason. They hired me to get black butts in those seats. And hopefully I'm going to represent the people that I'm representing in a correct way. But I'm going to do the kind of job that I'm going to be proud of so that they can be proud of it, so that the other people who are in my house and all of y'all can be proud of it too. You know, I ain't going to hurt nobody's feelings. Even if I'm doing, you know, even if I'm playing Steven in Django. I mean, I got this in my head, and when Quentin sent me the script, I was like, so you want me to be the most despicable Negro in cinematic history? And he was like, well, yeah. I'm like, I can handle that. And I can handle it in a way that black people watching the movie can handle it. Because I got to show them a person that they know that is a race betrayer. You know, that they can understand and understand why he's doing it. Now, you know, when you look at that movie, Steven basically run that plantation. Calvin's off running the club, and you know, Calvin balling out with his, you know, black fighters and his black hookers or whatever. But Steven's running the show. You know, he in charge, and that's his, you know, his plantation.
That's his plantation. Oh, you played that so good, man. We had Quentin Tarantino come in here, and we were actually talking to him about working with you, and he had a kind of an interesting perspective on who you are and what you sound like.
Apparently, Sam was like in England doing one of his a million movies at the time. I think probably The Kingsman. You know, he was doing The Kingsman, and he's read the script and he's all excited about playing Major Warren, and here it goes. And all of a sudden, his manager goes, "Quentin just said he's not going to do the movie." What? That motherfucker better get over that shit.
Damn, that's a pretty damn good Sam there, Quentin.
Well, I've been writing for him for a while.
Yeah, you got him down pat. Yeah, working with him must be a interesting trip. How does it differ from a Spike to Quentin? Like, what's different about them?
Quentin's a cinema director. Spike knows what he wants to do, but he's hired you because he knows you know what he wants. So Spike will go, you ready? You ready? You ready? Action. Quentin will sit there and give you a whole treatise on what this particular scene is and how it relates to the cinematic history of the world in terms of where he saw that scene and why he wants it in the movie and what that camera move is and who's a person that wrote something that was very similar or who he would have done this movie with if it was 1930 or 1950 or 1960, because he's just this vast repository of cinematic, not trivia, but just knowledge.
Information.
I mean,
right? Yeah.
Dude is encyclopedic.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Samuel L. Jackson is here, man. Tarzan is the name of the movie we're talking about. DB, you got a chance to see it.
Yeah, I did. And you play George Washington Williams.
Yeah, real guy.
And when I watched it, the one thing that kind of stood out, not only because you're you're very physical in this one. You do a lot of running, you know what I mean? And it's not used to seeing you like this. Usually when you do Nick Fury in Avengers, you're kind of the leader, but you don't really get involved in the action as much. You know, when you did Unbreakable and you're Mr. Glass, you were handicapped, so it's not like you could run anyway.
I fell down the steps pretty good. Well,
that was
my
hilarious.
stuntman did. He's dope. Keontae's awesome.
So even though Alex had to do a lot of training for, bulking up and everything like that, did you have to kind of get in shape for all the running scenes and all that stuff?
Margot and I had the same Pilates teacher. So we worked out, with David all the time. I met David on Kingsman. It was when I first started working out with him. And then he came through and he had me and Margot. But interestingly enough, when I started Kingsman, I was a vegan. And I'd lost like 30 pounds. And David had already cast me in Tarzan. So when I got to London, he wanted to meet with me to tell me about the changes in the script and whatnot. So I went and talked to him. We had this great meeting. And I left, and later on that evening, my agent calls and says, they think you're sick. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, they actually think you're too thin to be in the movie now. I'm like, well, that's going to make Tarzan look bigger. I mean, I'm going to be standing next to him, Tarzan's going to look like a giant. I said, no, they want you to gain some weight or they're going to recast this movie. So I went straight to Shake Shack and gained 15 pounds, quickly. So they had me on a bulk up kind of eating diet. So we both had the same cook dietitian on set, but they were feeding him different things and feeding me different things so that I could look, more formidable in the film. But no, I wasn't lifting no weight.
You spoke about food with your daughter, and I love food. I was just wondering, you said Top Chef, Masters, and Chop. Is she a cook or how does she?
Yeah, she's a chef. She went to Vassar and then she went to cooking school.
Wow. Does she cook for you guys at home, or she just ended
Every
up
now and then.
How you like her food?
She's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, she can burn.
That's good.
Yeah, she got skills. But her mom can cook too. Her mom's a Southern cook.
Yeah.
So she stood around the kitchen watching her mom, pinch this, throw that, and do that. And she's like, "Well, how much of that?" Like,
nobody measures.
Yeah, right.
Don't measure.
So they actually cook together. They both make interestingly different mac and cheeses. But they're very country mac and cheese. Zoe just uses Gruyere and Tanya uses cheddar. Yellow cheese. And some yellow cheese, some white cheese.
Some yellow cheese. Some government.
And Zoe's always calling out names. It's like, okay, fine, whatever.
Samuel, looking at the full width of your career, and you just played like such a variety of characters, what roles are you looking for now that you have not tapped into yet?
I have no idea. Doing movies, it's not like doing theater where you say to yourself, okay, I'm mature enough now to be King Lear, or I'm ready to do Hamlet. I just let stuff show up. It's funny the other day because I actually got an email from somebody because I think they're getting ready to make another Shaft.
Oh wow!
So I actually know the producer. It was funny. I was at his house. And he was talking about Shaft, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I played Shaft." And he was like, "When?" Wow! And I was like, "Just look it up." And so now they're talking about, and Richard. I was just with Richard a couple of weeks ago. So I was like, "So you can't do your Shaft without Richard or without me." Because then you wouldn't have a valid Shaft because people will think he's imitating one or the other of us. Which what I did when I did Shaft, I made sure nobody thought I was being Richard Roundtree. I said, we put Richard Roundtree in this movie so that they'll know he's still Shaft. I'm another version of Shaft. So I don't have to do any of that. And they totally made sure of that because I was definitely not a sex machine for all the chicks.
Hey, Sam, speaking of some of your movies.
I was kind of mad about that, too.
We got one last question because I know we got to go.
One question. The movie that you did in School Days, the role that you had was very significant, I feel, to what's happening right now in the current times. And when you were talking about the college students versus the locals and how the college students look down upon the locals.
What we call the block boys.
Exactly. So we've been talking this morning in political news segment about class. And so I was wondering, do you think that this election cycle is a referendum on class? Because I heard your speech at the BET Awards and you mentioned that we should be involved in the voting process. So do you think this election cycle is a referendum on class?
Totally is. I mean, Donald Trump's totally playing into that, making sure that those people feel like he's representing the interest of the unemployed and the disenfranchised and the people who are being pushed out, by people from other places, not just necessarily necessarily for them, in their minds, they automatically think people of color, being mostly brown now, not even black. But yeah, it's all about that. Wow, man, Jesse Williams.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, okay, this some Stokely Carmichael rap Brown shit here. You know, this the kind of talk we need to hear. The brothers need to understand it. This is not painted and fluffed up in big words and politically correct statements that won't hurt white people's feelings. Yeah. This is what it is right here. This is the raw, unabridged truth, the way we used to hear it. To make people get up, get off your ass, and understand. Y'all need to do something.
Yeah.
Because the world ain't gonna change just because you want it to.
Yeah. Samuel Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, man, you're a citizen, man. You made it, baby. You made it, man.
Yes.
All right, don't forget, see Tarzan. That's your cue. Yep.
All right, it's in theaters July 1st.
Okay, thank you, Samuel, for coming by, man. We got Ricky Stroller later to show, and also Denzel Carrier here, Sway in the Morning, Shade 45.
It's Sway in the Morning, only on Shade 45.